Hello, everyone. This is Beyond the Analyst, part of Triple Play Fantasy, also part of the Fantasy Points Media Group. I'm your host, Zach at FF Triple Batman. I am joined today by the wonderful John Bosch himself. John is one of the founding members of Fantasy Cares, host of the Dynasty Game Night podcast on DLF, and a part of Dynasty Wall Street and Dynasty Time Machine, both on DTC. How are you doing today, John?
I am doing all right, Zach. Thanks for having me on. This should be fun. I always enjoy these kinds of shows where you talk to fantasy people, but not about fantasy.
Exactly. That's the perfect segue. So if you guys have missed out on season one, we had 30 awesome interviews last off season. This is now, I think we're on number 9. You are the 9th episode. So we have 8 episodes already out there on our YouTube channel for Triple Play Fantasy or on our podcast network. So go ahead and make sure you like, subscribe, all that fun stuff so you don't miss out on any of the other interviews. But like you said, John, we're here to talk about you and not about your fantasy takes, and I'm sure you have great takes. And
Oh, obviously. Oh, 100% right all the time.
absolutely. So we'll start off. I would say, to me at least, I think you're known for at least 4 things. This is in no particular order: creative leagues, unique leagues, fantasy cares eliminators, beer, and theme parks. So I tried to kind of frame these questions to be about each of one of those. So I would say you are a mad scientist when it comes to creating those unique leagues. Do you have a favorite one that you've created so far?
You make me choose between my babies. So favorite league, it's so tough because I like the reason I enjoy unique leagues is because they're all different and they all give me a different challenge. Which is why I can't stop creating different leagues because I like to do just new things. Power Hungry will always have like a special place for me because that was one of the first like super unique leagues that I came up with. That I started. I shouldn't say I came up with it. There were probably other people out there doing leagues that had superpowers involved. So that's probably always going to be one of my favorites. That's one of my like original unique leagues. So that one kind of stands out. Um, Salary cap leagues are really what I love. So I have several of those, and ultimately, like of the leagues I play in that I have created, the salary cap leagues are my favorite. I could play nothing but salary cap leagues and be pretty happy. If I got rid of everything else, I would have to keep those. So that's probably not. It's hard. It's tough to pick a single favorite. I enjoy all of
I
them.
understand.
Otherwise, I wouldn't do them.
I understand. And now you don't have to spoil anything if you don't want to. But is there a new league that you haven't seen yet that you've been brainstorming about that maybe you're not ready to do it yet, but you've been kind of percolating there in your mind?
So not really, because I am the second startup that I'm running this year uh, is just about finished. Um, so I had two new ideas that I had been holding on to for a while. I wanted to do a second copy of my Fantasy Cares Eliminator Dynasty League because the first one is super fun and it's relatively easy to play and manage and run. And so I wanted to do a second one of that. We got that one all started up and done. And then I wanted to try and figure out a way to turn a guillotine league into a dynasty league. So I started one that is just about to finish the auction, probably the next day or two. And it has a lot of guillotine properties, but it is still a dynasty league. So like you do get to protect some of your players. Your whole roster doesn't get chopped and stuff. Um, but that was pretty fun. I was pretty excited to get that started. That had been kind of kicking around in my head for a little while. Uh, and that's usually what happens is when I have an idea, I try to avoid starting it right away because I don't want to. I want to make sure that it's one that I'm going to not be able to forget. Uh, so if it sits in there for like a year and I'm still thinking about it, that's usually when I go ahead and start a league at this point. That didn't used to be the case. It used to be I'd start a league every time I had a new idea. Uh, and that's why I run too many leagues. But I've learned now. I'm a little more patient with them. I try to hold off on them for a year before I start them. The only one that I've never been able to fully start, and it's just because it would be too much work, was I always wanted to do, and Dan Myler ended up doing kind of a version of it, Dynasty Day Trading. So it was nice. I was able to play in it, and I didn't have to do it. I'd still like to play in it. Ultimately, he let the league go because it was too much work, which is why I never got around to starting it. But I love the aspect of player values. So something that incorporates like the day trading is what Dan called it. When you can pick up a player and then you can cash out and get something for picking up players that rise in value and then being able to cash out on them. Like, I've always wanted to be able to make that kind of a league work. It's just so much work. It's so much off-site work. So it's not compatible with any platform out there. So if I could pick one to somehow be able to do and like have a platform design it for me so that I didn't have to do any offline work and stuff like that, or off-site work, that would probably be it. I still think about that to this day. How could I do a stock market league where you can just literally buy and sell? Like, oh, I picked up this player for nothing and now he's worth this, and some calculator or something, or the average of some calculators. Or I think about it a lot still. I can't make it happen without it being a lot of work. So
That's a cool idea. And immediately when you said it, I was like, oh, you need a platform for that. And
for
you
sure.
already said that. Like, if a platform existed, it'd be feasible. And I'm already thinking of like show ideas of like, all right, who are your penny stock players of the week?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I mean,
you have a lot of fun with
there
that
would be a
theme.
lot of content around it. It could be a lot of
Yeah.
fun, but too much work. Too
Yeah.
much work.
But maybe one day a platform will invest some time and money into that. We can have
It would be I would imagine not. I don't know that it would be profitable because it would be a pretty niche league, but it'd be fun for those of us in it.
You know, maybe someone will get bored, they kind of retire and they want a project.
That's true. They aren't doing it for the money anymore. That'd be nice.
Yeah. And then you talked about so many different leagues that you are commissioning in. So do you have one tip for commissioners to have a more fun league? Because you hear a lot of those complaints sometimes of like, my league's just not fun.
Don't run a basic league. I mean, that's the key. I don't run any leagues that are just like 12 team super flex draft picks. I don't find those as entertaining. I mean, I do play in some. I don't know why people play in like 30 or 40 of those. To me, it's the same thing. I get the people that play high volume because they want exposures and take it all that, but I like different things. So I don't need a whole bunch of the same thing. I'm already enjoying that. And, so I don't need to just keep playing in that. So my tip is be creative, put creative rules in, put something fun in the rules. That's really where the fun is going to come from. I know rules aren't fun, but the rules of a league are what make a league fun. And then the second part is make sure you get the right people. I mean, at this point now, I've gotten to the point where I try to vet really, really hard to make sure I'm getting the right mix of people in my leagues. Because if you have one or two that are the wrong fit, it can really make a league go downhill. So the key is the preparation of the league is what makes the league fun. Get the right rule, get fun rules, and get the right people that want to play with those fun rules. And usually leagues end up being fun. Then it just works that way when you get the right mix. But you have to do the work to make it happen. You can't just throw a league together and expect it to be the best league. It takes work.
Makes a lot of sense. That's great advice. And I kind of want to transition to the charity aspect that we were kind of talking about. So you mentioned Fantasy Cares Eliminators briefly. I know it's extremely popular. I don't want to be presumptuous, though, that everyone listening knows what that is. So can you explain what FCE is?
Yeah. Fantasy Cares Eliminators. They are one of our bigger events now for Fantasy Cares. Of course, Scott Fishbowl is the premier event. The Fantasy Cares Eliminators are kind of a little appetizer leading up to that. Basically what I do, and I have a group that helps me, which is fantastic now because it got so big that just couldn't manage it on my own anymore. It was way too big. So I have a group that helps me. You sign up on all the sign up will be on fantasycares.org this year. So that'll be really nice. Everybody can go straight there and sign up and hopefully donate while you're there. You sign up, you play with a celebrity. And 17 people will sign up to play with the celebrities. So if you know somebody in fantasy football, an analyst, anybody that does content, at this point now, I have a decent enough reach and contact with a lot of these people that a lot of them volunteer their time, and it's awesome. They donate their time. They hang out in the usually a Twitter DM while the draft is going on, and people are interactive. It's really, really fun to see. So everybody drafts a team. You do a best ball draft, usually starting about a month from now, actually a little less. I think it's May 11th is the go live date for the sign up this year. So we're pushing it a little bit further to try and get them all done by the end of June. So they are done before SFB really kicks off. Because last year, I think we had just a little bit of overlap. We were a little bit slower on it, but this year we're gonna be better. We're gonna be faster. So you sign up, you draft a team. It's a best ball team. That's it. There's nothing else to do but watch your score each week. And as long as you're not the lowest score, you keep advancing. So each week, the lowest scoring team is eliminated. So come week 17, there will be 2 teams vying for one title. And last year, Trophy Smack jumped on board and sponsored a nice ring. So there was actually an overall champion for anybody that played in like the standard Fantasy Cares Eliminator. And it's hard for me to say standard because I mess with the scoring for fun. But anybody that played in the standard for the year, basically, if you were the highest scoring team of all those leagues, you end up winning a ring, which was really nice of Trophy Smack. Hopefully I got to reach out to them, get them back on board for this year, but I'm sure they'll be back on board and we'll be able to do something like that again. So they end up being a lot of fun. It's a big community event. I mean, nobody really gets into it really caring if they win, I don't think. Like I said, I usually do mess with the scoring system to make it so that it's not just, like a regular best ball draft. Don't get me wrong. I love doing underdog drafts right now. I enjoy that quite a bit throughout the day. But I wanted something that would be separate. And so we usually have some pretty unique scoring in there just to make you think a little bit differently, which I think ends up making it fun and makes you a little sharper when you have to think about you're sitting in May and thinking about a scoring setting that makes you just kind of look at fantasy from a little bit of a different angle. I think that's something that always improves your game. So that's one of the reasons I do that.
Cool. And you did mention this would be going live around May 11th. So I will say we are recording way ahead of time because this episode will come out like May 22nd-ish. So
it's already live. Go sign up,
yeah,
folks.
so when you're listening to this, go sign up, check it out. If you have any questions, always reach out. People will be posting about it a ton.
Yeah.
But it's an awesome charity.
There will probably still be signups live on May 22nd. Usually, I think it took about 2 weeks to get all the signups completed last year. So probably take about the same amount this year.
Perfect. And
we run we run like 150 of them. So
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot, and I'm not kidding when I say if there's somebody that you want to play that you know of in fantasy, if they're not on the list, let me know and I'll reach out. But at this point, there's a lot of people, a lot of names on the list, fun to play against.
Awesome. And then we'll be leading right into Scott Fishbowl right after that. So lots of awesome charity going on, bringing the community together. So
make sure you're signed up for Scott Fishbowl, folks. ScottFishbowl.com.
The only way to get in, literally.
It is.
Yeah.
If you don't sign up, you will not get in.
Yep. Doesn't matter who you are.
That's correct.
But no, I appreciate you talking about Fantasy Cares Eliminators and all the work you put into it. Because like you said, you have a team now that helps you, but it is still a lot of work, but for a great cause. And it seems like the community has a ton of fun with it. Like you said, everybody wants to kind of win, you know what I mean? But really, it's more bring everyone together, have a good time, hang out.
Yeah. And I mean, I love that last year was the first year, maybe the second year, I can't remember, where there's no required entry fee. So, I mean, we do like donations and we recommend donating, which is the whole point is to raise a bunch of money for Fantasy Cares to support the charities that we support. But I was overwhelmed with how generous people were. It was nice. And There's no payout or anything on these. It's just playing for pride and for fun. And it is fun to eliminate some of your favorite analysts. Let's be honest. It's pretty cool to be able to say, hey, I beat Scott Fish in this, something like that.
Absolutely. And now to transition to one of the other topics that I think you're known for, I would say, is beer. So I know you love beer. I know you love trying new beer from all over the country. Because I know you post about it a lot. You have your fridge with all the different labels on it. Is there a certain state that you think has the best beer that you've had so far?
That's tough because I would make a lot of people mad if I chose one. And I'm obviously extremely biased, seeing as I live just south of Cincinnati. But I will say, like, Ohio does have really good selection. I'm extremely spoiled where I am because we have really good distribution. So I get beers from Ohio, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Maryland. Like we're like right in this Missouri. Like we have Tennessee. We have a lot of stuff that gets distribution right where we are. And I live also within driving distance of Cincinnati, or I mean Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. So like I go to shopping in different states that have different distributions. So I'm very spoiled. So I have access to a lot of stuff from all around the country. I will say, like, Ohio is very, very good. There are a lot of good craft breweries in Ohio. There's not a lot to do in Ohio, so people make beer and drink it. I really enjoyed when I have been out west, up the Pacific Northwest. My sister lives in Seattle, and I had some very, very good beers up there. So I would like to go there and drink more. And then I will say Texas, I think, is a pretty standout state too. I have had a lot of beer sent to me from Texas, the Austin area, and then surrounding areas in Texas. And there's some good stuff coming from Texas. So I think those are probably the tops on my lists. I will say there's a little spot, a couple, like my favorite brewery right now is Drecker, which is in North Dakota. And I specifically went out of my, like, said, I'm targeting people. I want to exchange beers. I'll send you some, you send me some. We'll take care of each other. And all the stuff that I got from there has been fantastic. We do have Drecker distribution here, but we don't have some of the other stuff. I think it was like Half Brothers, Rhombus, like, so now I'm totally ready to drive up there and just drink in that area because it had several good breweries that people sent me from right in that area. So it's good. The United States has gotten a lot better. I used to be a beer snob and only wanted Euro beers once I started drinking Euro beers. But since then, I've now discovered as long as I, put in a little effort in my shopping, I can get stuff that I like from America.
Perfect. And I know it's probably like choosing your favorite league or choosing your favorite child. I understand, but do you have a favorite style of beer?
Oh no, this is not like choosing my favorite anything. This is easy. It's sours. I love sours. I will try any sour. Like that's my favorite style. I'll drink a lot of different types of beers. I know the next question is which one will I not drink? And it's IPAs. I am #team no IPAs. Do not like IPAs. So I know that you have the best IPA ever. I understand that. I'm still not going to like it. So you don't have to recommend it to me because it's the best one I've ever tasted. Trust me, I've tasted about 100 that are the best IPA I will ever taste. I don't like any of them. So sours are easily my favorite, but I'll drink just about anything except IPAs.
We're pretty similar. I do enjoy good sour, and I do not like IPAs either, but I do like hazy IPAs because they are kind of remind me of a little bit of a sour where they're a lot more fruit forward and not so bitter. So I will enjoy hazy IPA.
Usually. I will say, like, the one IPA that I do like is one that when Chris Allen makes when he makes IPAs, and he told me, like, he finishes things with vanilla and it just kills some of that bitterness. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better. Why doesn't everybody do this? Like, people want that bitter taste. I don't.
I'm the same way.
I like that nice smooth finish after I drink it. It tastes good, and then it still tastes good.
I want to enjoy drinking it. Yeah.
I don't have to be like, oh, that tasted good. Oh, now it tastes bad. I don't get that. Whatever.
We are on the same page 100%.
And I will say, even in sours, like, there's a subset of sours that if you can get like a smoothie sour or a slushy sour, oh my God. Like those are dangerously good. Like they don't look like beer at all. And sometimes they're a little bit higher in the percentages because they can really mask some stuff because they just jam pack fruit in there. Those are really good. When I find a smoothie sour or a slushy sour, like if you go to one of the beer places that I shop has like their, the standard shelves, aisles of beer, but then they also have a refrigerated only section. And whenever a can says keep fresh or keep cold, drink fresh, I'm like, yes, that means there is so much in there that if it warms up, it will explode. That's a sign that I want to taste that beer big time.
I will have to look out for those. I always like trying new stuff, so I will be on the lookout for some slushy and smoothie beers.
I'm curious where you get yours in Florida because I struggle in Florida because a lot of places don't can and distribute a lot of Florida breweries. You can only get them directly at the breweries, which that's a pain in the ass. I don't want to spend my vacation doing that.
Yeah, so I don't have a huge variety down here, but Publix actually has a decent amount of like your more like popular craft breweries in Florida, so that's not too bad. And then I also have a beer drop service, so a monthly service and that goes all over the country. Actually, it's a lot of Colorado beers. But every once in a while I get a Florida beer. I just got a Maryland beer at my last drop. So that's kind of how I try my variety.
What was the Maryland beer?
It was Duclaw Brewery.
Oh, Duclaw, yeah, they're very good.
And it was, let me see.
They make unicorn farts. Good one.
There was a rainbow poop on the can.
Yeah.
It was to promote colon cancer awareness.
Oh, yes. I think I saw your tweet on that one. Yeah, I like the Claw. The Claw is good.
Yeah, it was it's a fruited sour ale.
Yep.
So you would have enjoyed that. But yeah, my last box had a blackberry vanilla ale, a peach lemonade sherbet.
Yeah, I saw that tweet, and all those look good.
Yeah, there's a milk stout. Yeah, so I've gotten through about half of them so far, so they've been enjoyable.
Nice.
But yeah, that's kind of how I find my variety. But I would like to tour. So there's a ton of breweries around here. I just with 3 young kids, it hasn't really been an activity for me yet. But I definitely want to get around.
Yeah, like anytime we're in Florida, like we're in Florida to vacation, and it's like I don't want to have to go to 7 different places to get my beer for the beach. Now what I do usually when we go down to Florida, we stop in South Carolina, Charlotte, South Carolina, North Carolina, like right on the border. There's a Carowinds theme park, Carowinds amusement park that we go to, and there is a big, huge beer store right by it. And so I just buy a ton there and drive it down because I've gotten so disappointed every time I'm at the beach, and I'm like, I really don't want like Bud Light lime. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, that's not the fruited beer I'm looking for. Because like if you ask, they'll be like, "Oh, there's some Bud Light lime over there." Oh, no, like that's not what I meant. And you can get, and then there's a lot of citrus Belgian wheats, a lot of citrus Belgian wheats in Florida. But I got tired of drinking those. Like there's a lot, and they're good, but I can't drink those for years. Like mix it up, people. Come on, throw some sours in your cans and put them on the shelves. Florida.
Absolutely.
This is a problem for me because we go to the beach frequently in Florida, obviously, and I drink too much and I can't get good beer. So it frustrates me. Like I can't go fill up a growler and take a growler to the beach. I'm not allowed to have a glass on the beach. So I need a 6-pack of cans, get some distribution at Publix. Come on, people. I know. I mean, they do it because they want you to come into the breweries and eat and drink because that's obviously way more profitable, but I don't want to drink Miller Lite and stuff on the beach. One day, craft breweries in Florida will explode into the grocery stores.
There you go. Just for your beach trips.
Hopefully.
But speaking of trips with the family, I know you love going to a lot of theme parks. And you go all over the country for the theme parks, which I think is really cool. So what is it about theme parks that you and your family like so much?
We love rides. I mean, I have been a roller coaster enthusiast my entire life. Kings Island is very close to where I live. So I grew up going to Kings Island. My brothers and sisters and my best friend, we would always get a family pass together as soon as my oldest sibling could drive. And I mean, we would go up there once or twice a week, it felt like. And now that I have kids, they also enjoy it. So it's they grew up going to them, obviously, but they do like the roller coasters. So the fact that they enjoy that thrill seeking is just awesome, because now you got to go do it with them. That's so great. And honestly, like the price of a Cedar Fair Platinum Pass for all the parks that we go to, that's a big factor because it's super cheap compared to actually paying to get into all of them. So, I mean, like, that's why we can go to all of them, because we have a pass that gets us into all of them. It's like twice as much as the pass to get you into one park. But for me, like, we're going to go to all these different parks. That's just super affordable. The 1 year that we did do literally every single Cedar Fair park in America and Canada, we did it all in one summer. Like, I tallied it up, and it would have cost us like 10 times what it actually cost us had we paid to go and do each park and like park and buy food. Cause I mean, we have the dining plan and drink plans and stuff. So like all that stuff was paid for already. So all we have to do is basically pay for our travel, driving and a hotel room. That's relatively inexpensive way for a family of 5 to vacation. So
No, it
that's a
sounds like
factor. But we love it. We do enjoy it. We love going to parks. It's nice when it's cold here, we can go down to Charlotte, and it's usually a little bit warmer down there. So we'll spend a weekend down there, usually once a winter, just kind of go get some warmer weather. There's sometimes over the colder months, not all the rides are operating, but we don't even care, because we could we leave like 20-degree temperatures, and we can go sit outside in 65, 70-degree temperatures and ride some rides and eat and drink and have fun. So it's enjoyable. And the fact that my kids love it makes it real easy. If they didn't like it, we wouldn't do it.
No, that makes sense. And I mean, a summer of just touring theme park sounds amazing. So you can't beat that.
Yeah, at some point, like we do want to switch and get like the Six Flags pass that gets us, because we haven't been to those. But obviously they have rides that we haven't ridden. But the fact that like we're so close to Kings Island, it's hard to not have Cedar Fair, and there's really not a reason to get both unless we are going to go to all kinds of parks, which right now we don't have the time to do.
No, that makes sense. And so that was the last of, we'll call it the serious questions. I have some rapid fire questions. If you're
serious, I felt that pressure.
All right.
Rapid fire questions.
Cool. So you can literally answer this with one word if you want, or you can add a little context, however you feel like you need to answer the question. So I need you to rank these beers for me: shower beer, after yard work beer, grilling beer, and a vacation beer.
Okay, so 2 of these are usually the same. So the after yard work and shower beer are usually the same. Like, if I've done yard work, I usually come and get a shower, and yes, I will take a beer to the shower, and it is super satisfying. The vacation beer, also nice because I'm on vacation. And yes, I am that person who grabs a beer every time I grill. I might have a problem. No, how do I rank them? So vacation beer, I think, is the top, just because like the setting, I'm on vacation. I didn't have to do anything to earn this. I'm not doing anything to earn it. I'm just enjoying it, usually on a beach, or in the ocean or by a pool. But I'm in a nice setting, and it isn't like a reward for having that I had to earn. It's just, so that's probably the top of the list. I actually, as much as I enjoy like grilling, I think the shower beer after yard work just hits better. There is something to that. I don't have a riding lawnmower anymore. I did used to have one, and I was that guy that would, have a beer while I'm cutting my grass on my mower. That was exactly who I was. But now I push with a battery operated one, so I really earn it. I think that one hits the best for so. And I will say, a grilling beer, I don't always have one. Depends on what I'm grilling and how long I'm going to be standing by the grill. If I'm just making some quick burgers or hot dogs or something like that, then it's not. But if I'm making something that I'm going to be standing by that grill for a while and doing a little bit of work, then obviously I'm going to get thirsty. So I think grilling beer comes in third on the list.
Fair enough.
What's your ranks on those?
I'd probably have it the exact same way for the same reasons. Vacation beer because you're on vacation, the shower beer, yard work beer because, like you said, you had to do some kind of work, and hydration is important. And
Obviously.
then grilling beer, it's enjoyable. I like to grill. I like to enjoy a beer, but yeah, it's not like it's last, but it's not bad. It's just out of those three, I'd have to put it last.
Vacation beer does have the plus also that it might be something you've never had before. So
Correct. It may be
that
more
also
expensive than all the other
helps.
beers, but
Oh God, yeah. Well, I wasn't even thinking about that because that goes down on the list. Like I don't buy beers at these amusement parks and stuff. I looked when we went to Kings Island Friday for like pass holder opening day, and I was just sitting by one of the like beer stands and just looking at it, and like it's like $12.99 for just like a Bud Light, and then it's like $13.99 for I don't even know what they refer to it as, like craft. I think it might have just said craft beer, and it's not even anything good.
Yeah.
It's just like a small brewery that like they don't even have something that like makes me even consider, oh, I would pay $14 for that 16-ounce. No, like, oh my God. I don't know. I'm the person. I don't drink at baseball games if I go, like stuff like that. I just can't. I feel it makes me sick at thinking of spending that. I will say,
Yeah.
like at Disney, if I was ever at Disney and doing like the around the world, that's the one place where if it's something that I only have the option to get it there, that's when I would probably pay up. Like if it's from a country and it's literally from a country, and it's not just, labeled in there, like made here and labeled differently. If it was actually imported from some other country that I'm never going to get a chance to go to, then I might consider it just because that's a unique experience. And then I'm paying for the experience, which I'm fine with.
That makes sense. All about value.
Yeah,
So let's
I really am.
so let's say you own your own theme park. So what 3 rides that already exist would have to be in your theme park?
All right, so here's another one where this is a tough choice one. And again, I have not been on all of Six Flags. Like I have not done those parks because they're just not geographically conducive to me. Um, so Steel Vengeance is probably my favorite roller coaster. That's at Cedar Point right now. If anybody doesn't know what it is, I suggest looking it up and watching a video of it. It is awesome. You have no harness above your waist, like no over the shoulder, no over the head, nothing. The locking mechanism locks your legs into position, like in a seated position. It comes up and locks your legs down, and you go upside down a bunch. And it's really fast. So that's it. There's not a lot of rides like that right now. It's one of the newer coaster styles, and it's a really different feeling when you aren't locked in and going upside down. I mean, you are locked in, but you're not locked in up top. You're locked in on the waist, which is it's unique. It's different. That's probably my favorite coaster that I've ridden ever. It's super exciting. So I would definitely want to have a coaster of that style. One of my favorite coasters is Fury 325 at Carowinds. Does not go upside down at all, but it is so high, so fast. You get so much airtime because it's one of those ones. It's basically just a series of up and downs, but the way it's designed and how fast you go, your butt is up off your seat a lot, and I love that feeling. I love the feeling of like just kind of floating along. Maybe I'm going to fly out. I'm not going to fly out, but that feeling is, I enjoy that feeling on a roller coaster. So, and Fury 325 is the best of it. Kings Island, unfortunately, they have one that's very similar called Orion that just opened a couple years ago. And the first time I rode it, I was like, this is not as good as Fury 325. Like, what are you doing, Kings Island? Like, you had the chance to outdo another one and you didn't. So that was disappointing. Still a fun ride, but it was disappointing to me. So that only leaves me one other ride. Like, that's so tough for me to choose. Like, those are probably my 2 favorite coasters and coaster styles. So I want to get a ride that's a different style. Unfortunately, it probably still has to be a coaster because they're just so much more fun. And that makes it really tough to choose what kind of coaster I want. It probably would come down to being I would probably want to go with like a winged coaster, where that's one of the ones where so like you're sitting out off to the sides, like on the coasters, and like you're kind of dangling instead of like sitting in a bucket or anything like that. Those are fun. That we rode one over in Europe when we were over there called Phoenix at an amusement park called Toverland in the Netherlands. That was really, really cool. But I only got to ride it a couple of times. I think so. I've gone Cedar Point, Carowinds. It's tough for me not to. You know what? I'm going to go with one from Canada's Wonderland, which is Yukon Striker is the name of it. So what's really fun is you go up, then you go and like, always on a coaster, you go up and you go down. But on this one, you go up, you start to go down, and then you stop. And so you're just like looking down, and then it lets go. But there's a good delay there intentionally for you to just kind of hang there and look, and then you just whip around. And that's really cool. That'll be from 3 different parks, 3 different styles of coasters. I think that's the way to go. I think that's the way to go for me. If I can only pick 3 rides, I probably should mix it up and pick some non-coaster ride, because I do like other rides too, but coasters are the 101. They're the best. They're the best style of ride.
Perfect. I love it. If you were a beer, what
man,
style
I
of beer
just
would
realized,
you be?
you know what coaster I left out, coaster style I left out? The new one down in Disney I did enjoy that one a lot. The one that like you spin as you go around the track and stuff.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes. That style is pretty fun too. Oh man, that's tough. All right.
That could be an honorable mention.
Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy on an honorable mention, because that's a really fun. That feels really cool too when you're both spinning and moving forward. Like that's fun. All right, what's the next one? Sorry, these are super rapid. Obviously, I'm crushing the rapid part of this.
Rapid's a loose term.
Oops.
So if you were a beer, what style of beer would you be? And then can you describe yourself like you would describe a beer with 3 words?
I can't. I'm actually terrible at this game. What style of beer would I be? I have no idea. I mean, I don't think I would be a sour, even though it's my favorite kind, because a sour would be like somebody that's like, bubbly and light and bubbly, effervescent. That's not me. So I don't fit that. I wouldn't be an IPA because I'm not bitter. And I don't think a lot of people enjoy it. I'm kidding. Let's see here. I'd probably be like a porter, I think. Solid, heavy, kind of an acquired taste. Those that enjoy that style of beer really enjoy that style of beer. And those that don't. I think that's pretty fitting to me. I feel like that's how I'm received by people. I'm either liked or I'm not liked.
I love it. And then is my last one for you. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
That'd be flight. I mean, that's why I chase roller coasters. One of my favorite roller coasters of all time was it was the kind of you get strapped in and then they lay you back. But then as you go up, they twist you over. So you are just facing downwards and you're just like hanging there. And like then as it whips around, that's probably as close as I'm ever going to come to feeling like I'm flying. And I've always been a Superman fan, so it would be flying. Who wouldn't want to fly? That's like in The Good Place, one of my favorite shows. That's like one of the best parts. They're like, hey, today's flying day. And she has to miss it to go clean up garbage. Like, ugh, I might have gone to flying day. Like, how do you not go fly? It's so much fun. I would imagine. I don't know. I've never actually done it, but I would love to try. We were promised jetpacks, weren't we? Like, when are those coming?
So the Rocketeer was a long time ago.
That really was.
But I appreciate all those answers. It was great to get to know you a little bit more. Can you let everyone know where they can find you and all of your content?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at John Bosch FF. Really, really clever with the name. I was not as creative as at FF Chalupa Batman with the fun league reference. So yeah, I am on Twitter. I'm on there too much. My content is like you said at the introduction. I have 2 podcasts on the DTC podcast network. That's Dynasty Wall Street and Dynasty Time Machine. And then I'm also on Dynasty Game Night from time to time. We aren't quite as frequent on that show as we probably should be. That is on the DLF podcast network. The majority of the work that you'll find me doing is fantasy care stuff. So fantasycares.org, go sign up, join our mailing list, play in, we almost always are going to have a contest of some sort going that you can join in. They're not going to ever be anything like super hard or challenging. We just want fun things to kind of give people something to do. We probably will have this will be way after the draft, so that won't matter. But at this time, it'll be the Eliminators, and then Scott Fishbowl coming up, and we probably are going to have a few other things throughout the year, even after those events.
Awesome. And you can't beat fantasy football combined with charity. I mean, there's no better combination.
It is fun.
So
It is really, really cool. The mission Scott started and just how much it's grown and how many people have been supportive of it. It's so cool.
Absolutely. So this is Beyond the Analyst. This is Triple Play Fantasy. Make sure, like I said at the top, like, subscribe, leave a review, all that fun stuff. It's a great way to support the team. The team puts out a lot of great content, not just football. We're talking basketball, baseball, all that great stuff. So thank you again, John Bosch, for coming on. Really appreciate getting to know you. It was a lot of fun talking so many different topics. And thank you all. Make sure you guys tune in for the next interview that'll be coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.